It's not your looks. It's not your money. It's not clever lines or constant attention. What makes a woman fall in love with you are the quiet acts she feels long before she can explain them. Most men try to impress. They talk more, they chase harder, they try to prove their value. But the men women fall in love with do something very different. They act with calm intention, they move with quiet strength, and they never lose themselves to be chosen. Let me tell you about a man named Ethan. Ethan was in his mid-30s, living in Colorado, working in consulting. On paper, he was doing well. Good career, stable life, healthy routine. But his dating life felt stuck. Women liked him. They went on dates. They enjoyed his company. Yet something was missing. They didn't invest. They didn't stay. They didn't fall in love. Until Ethan changed 5 simple acts in how he showed up. Not tricks, not manipulation, not dating tactics. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." Ethan stopped trying to convince women. He started becoming a man worth falling in love with. In this video, I'll share the 5 powerful acts Ethan practiced. Acts that quietly make women fall in love with you, not through performance, but through mastery of self. Let's begin with the first act, the foundation of everything that follows. Act number 1, mastering emotional control. When Ethan first started dating seriously, he believed being expressive was a strength. If he felt anxious, he showed it. If he felt frustrated, he reacted. If a woman pulled away, he pulled closer. He thought honesty meant emotional transparency. But what he didn't realize was this: his emotions were leading him, not the other way around. One night, he was seeing a woman named Claire. They had been dating for a few weeks. Things felt good. Then one evening, she replied late. Short messages, no emojis, no warmth. Old Ethan would have panicked. He would have sent paragraphs. He would have asked, "Did I do something wrong?" But this time, he paused. He remembered a line from Epictetus: "No man is free who is not master of himself." So he did something different. He didn't react. He didn't chase. He didn't spiral. He simply continued his evening. Gym, dinner, a quiet walk, his usual routine. The next day, Claire messaged him again, warm, curious, engaged. Later, she admitted something quietly. "I like how calm you are. It feels grounding." That was the moment Ethan understood something most men never learn. Emotional control isn't coldness, it's stability. Most men mirror a woman's emotional turbulence. If she's anxious, they become anxious. If she tests, they break frame. If she pulls back, they chase. A Stoic man does the opposite. He becomes the anchor. When you stay calm while emotions rise, you create a psychological contrast that feels safe and magnetic. Women may not consciously think this man is emotionally regulated. They feel it in their body. They feel they can relax. They feel they can lean in. They feel they're with a man who won't collapse under pressure. And that feeling, that sense of emotional safety, is where attachment begins. Ethan didn't suppress his emotions. He observed them. He felt the urge to react and chose stillness instead. That stillness became his quiet power, and it was only the beginning. Act number 2, speaking less, meaning more. Ethan used to believe that connection was built with words. He explained everything. He filled every silence. He thought more talking meant more intimacy. It did the opposite. On one date, he met a woman named Sophie at a quiet rooftop bar in Denver. She was thoughtful, observant, the kind of woman who listened more than she spoke. Old Ethan would have tried to impress her. Stories about his career, his travels, his ambitions. He would have filled the night with explanations. But this time, he tried something different. He listened. When Sophie talked about her childhood, he didn't interrupt. He didn't jump in with his own story. He just watched her, nodded, asked one simple question. "So how did that shape you?" She paused. No one had asked her that in a long time. The conversation slowed down. The silence between them felt different. Not awkward, not empty. It felt deep. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." Ethan realized something in that moment. A man doesn't prove depth by talking about it. He proves it by being present. Most men talk to be liked. They explain to be understood. They perform to be remembered. A Stoic man speaks with intention. He lets silence do half the work. When Ethan spoke, it was brief, clear, grounded. He didn't dominate the conversation. He didn't disappear either. He created space. Later that night, Sophie told him, "You're different. Most guys never stop talking. With you, I felt heard." That's when Ethan understood the paradox. Silence doesn't create distance, it creates gravity. When a man is comfortable in silence, it signals confidence, composure, and emotional maturity. Women don't fall in love with endless words. They fall in love with how they feel when they are seen. Ethan stopped trying to be interesting. He started being interested, and that subtle shift made his presence unforgettable. Act number 3, setting boundaries without anger. For most of his life, Ethan believed that being a good man meant being agreeable. He said yes when he wanted to say no. He adjusted his schedule to fit hers. He avoided conflict at all costs. He thought boundaries would push women away. One weekend, Sophie invited him on a last-minute trip. She texted late Friday night, "Hey, my friends are going to Aspen tomorrow. You should come. It'll be fun." Old Ethan would have canceled everything. Work, plans, gym. He would have gone just to stay close. But this time, he paused. He had committed to a personal project he'd been building for months. It mattered to him. And for the first time, he decided his peace mattered more than pleasing someone else. He replied calmly, "That sounds great. I'm glad you're going. I can't this weekend. I've got something important to finish." No long explanation, no apology, no guilt. Just a boundary. Sophie didn't respond right away. Later, she called him. "You're really not coming?" she asked, half curious, half surprised. "No," Ethan said, "not this time." There was a pause on the line, and then something changed in her voice. "I respect that," she said quietly. "Most guys would drop everything." That was the moment Ethan understood the true nature of boundaries. Seneca once said, "A man who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than is necessary." Ethan had suffered for years trying to keep everyone happy. Now he chose peace instead. Boundaries are not walls, they are signals. They signal self-respect. They signal leadership. They signal that a man values himself. Most men think attraction comes from giving more. In reality, attraction often grows when you refuse to abandon yourself. When Ethan held his boundary without anger, without ego, without drama, Sophie didn't feel rejected. She felt intrigued. She felt she was dealing with a man who knew who he was. And that kind of certainty is deeply attractive. Act number 4, pursuing purpose, not validation. For a long time, Ethan measured his worth by attention. If a woman replied quickly, he felt confident. If she pulled away, he felt smaller. Dating had become his scoreboard. Then something shifted. Ethan began waking up earlier, not for messages, not for dating apps, but for his work. He started building something of his own, a consulting practice that focused on sustainable systems for small businesses. It wasn't glamorous, it wasn't social media impressive, but it mattered to him. He stopped scheduling his life around dates. He scheduled dates around his life. One evening, Sophie asked him, "Why are you always so busy lately?" He smiled. "I'm building something I care about." There was no bragging, no selling, just quiet conviction. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions." Ethan finally understood what that meant. Purpose is gravity. When a man has a direction, his energy changes. He walks differently, he speaks differently, he becomes harder to distract, and women feel that. Sophie began adjusting her schedule to see him. She started initiating conversations. She asked about his work, not because it was impressive, but because he was alive when he talked about it. Ethan wasn't chasing validation anymore. He wasn't checking his phone every 5 minutes. He wasn't trying to prove his value. He was living it. And the moment he stopped chasing her attention, she started chasing his time. That is the quiet paradox of attraction. You don't make women fall in love by making them your purpose. You make them fall in love by having a purpose beyond them. Act number 5, loving from strength, not fear. Ethan used to love with fear. He feared losing. He feared being replaced. He feared not being enough. So he overgave. He overtexted. He overcommitted. He thought love meant attachment. Then he learned something different. One evening, he and Sophie were walking through a quiet park after dinner. The city was still. The air was cool. She leaned against him and asked, "Do you ever worry about losing people?" Ethan paused. Old Ethan would have said yes. He would have confessed how much he needed her, how he feared being alone. But this time, he answered honestly, without fear. "Of course I care," he said, "but I'm okay on my own. I choose you. I don't need you to feel whole." Sophie looked at him for a long moment. There was no defensiveness in her expression, no distance. There was something else, respect. Epictetus once said, "When you kiss your child, remind yourself you are kissing a mortal." It wasn't about coldness, it was about non-attachment. Ethan loved Sophie deeply. He listened, he supported her, he showed up, but he never abandoned himself to keep her, and that changed how she saw him. When a man loves from fear, a woman feels pressure. When a man loves from strength, she feels admiration. She felt safe with Ethan, but she also felt drawn to him because he wasn't loving her to fill a void. He was loving her to share his peace. One night, she said something that stayed with him. "You're the first guy who made me feel wanted, but not needed." That was the moment Ethan understood the final act. Love that comes from strength creates desire. Love that comes from fear creates dependence. And dependence slowly erodes attraction. Ethan didn't cling, he chose. And that choice made all the difference. Final, the 5 acts that make women fall in love. Ethan didn't use tricks or manipulation. He practiced 5 acts that quietly made women fall in love with him. He mastered his emotions. He spoke with intention, not impulse. He set boundaries without anger. He pursued purpose instead of validation, and he loved from strength, not fear. These acts didn't make him louder, they made him steadier. A Stoic man doesn't chase love, he becomes the kind of man love naturally falls for. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." When Ethan changed his inner state, everything changed. His presence became calm, his energy became grounded, and women felt it without him needing to perform. You don't make a woman fall in love with words or status. You make her fall in love with the quiet strength of who you are when nothing is being performed. Thank you for watching Stoic Wisdom today. So tell me this, which of these 5 acts is hardest for you to live by right now, and why? Emotional control, silence, boundaries, purpose, or loving without fear? Share your thoughts in the comments. I read them all. If this video helped you, subscribe to us for more Stoic lessons on masculinity, discipline, and inner strength. Like the video if you found value here, and share it with someone who needs this message. Until next time, stay grounded, stay disciplined, stay stoic.